I want to ask you a question. How important do you think it is that you know what's the reason behind what you're doing at any moment? You think it's important? You know, I really believe that there's something that it involves this notion of looking at sport and really getting the purpose behind it right. And that's what I'm going to try to address in my presentation today. I'm going to present you with a situation and see how you'd respond. So $50 million, it's a lot of money, and that's after taxes, okay? That's $50 million that you're going to get. I'm going to assume that last year you had a win-loss record of 50%. Not bad. You're in a tough league. But here's the deal. I'm going to give you $50 million if you can jump that to 75% by the end of the season. $50 million is yours if you can up your winning ratio to 75%. Not bad, huh? What are you going to do differently? If you know that there's this pot of gold, and I know if I ask each one of you individually, you say, no, money doesn't motivate me. I don't really care about money. Thank you very much. I got it. But let's assume you might be tempted by money in some way. So 50 million. And let's say that your winning ratio last year was 80%. I mean, really good. And I'm going to give you 50 million if you can get it to 97%. You can lose one game all year. 50 million. How are you going to change things? Are you going to push a little harder? Or what are you going to look for? How are you going to, you're going to dissect this formula of winning with every cell in your body, because that is what matters. So, what if I did this? What if I gave you $50 million? Only this time, we have an extraordinary test that measures character. And it's really good, very reliable. And we administer that test at the beginning of the season to all your players. And then we administer it at the end. And what it's going to measure are some of these things: integrity, trustworthiness, sportsmanship, respect for others, gratitude, humility, a wide variety of character strengths that we all pretty much agree are ingredients in a healthy person's life. And we're going to measure them before the season starts and after your season. And if you are able to raise their character quotient by 20%, you get $50 million. $50 million for helping people grow in character. Are you going to do something different? Will you do something different than you would in the first case? Will your focus be different? Will your energy investments be different? I suspect they'll be quite different. And what if I added one other dimension? What if I said, if you don't make the 75%, I'm going to fire you. Not only will you not get 50 million, you're going to lose your job, and I am going to tell the world you're a bum. You probably will not get another job in sport. You probably lose your income. You may lose your home. You're going to lose everything that you value in terms of security. So buckle up. And what if I said that to you in terms of character? Well, there's another whole formula. A lot of people feel very good if they don't have to worry about when if I take it away, it's either another level of compelling drive to get this done. The point is that what you focus on, the real driving force, is going to make a difference in how you operate. If you don't frame it right, you're going to come up with a very different solution. And I want to remind you something. All the coaches in front of you have figured out a major piece of this formula. John Wooden figured it out, and many others who followed in his wake have figured it out. But the voices get drowned out. We're here to give you a voice that lets you know there is another way, and a much better way, because no one loses if your players get healthier in terms of character, stronger as human beings. In fact, our conclusion is at the Institute, and we've been doing this, I've been doing this work for more than 3 decades, and for the last decade, we've studied the effect of character on human performance in the military, in medicine, in business, and in sport. And I will tell you, character drives performance. The healthier you are, most importantly, at the character level, the better you're going to perform, because the better you're able to understand what life is all about and integrate failure, because it's going to come at some point. So here's a proposition. This is called the Goldman dilemma. Some of you are familiar with it. Dr. Goldman, for 10 consecutive years, provided athletes, the best athletes he could get access to, most of them were Olympians, for literally 10 years. And he gave them this dilemma, and here it is. If I was able to give you a pill, a drug, that would enable you to never lose again, that all of your aspirations and dreams as an athlete would come true. It is cheating. It's illegal. But I can tell you for sure you will not get caught. You will not get caught. And all of your dreams as an athlete will come true. There's only one downside to taking the pill. You will die in 5 years as a consequence of the drug intake. So this was asked of them year after year, and it was anonymous. What do you think the percentage of folks, of athletes, elite athletes, that would take that deal? What do you think? Every single year it was over 50%. 50% to become a star, they would cheat, and they would die in 5 years because somehow they've been hoodwinked, indoctrinated into believing that athletic achievement will bring all the greatness that they could possibly imagine, and it's worth it. It's worth dying for. What the heck have we done? What the heck have we done? Let me ask you this. Do you think sports teaches character? What do you think? Many of you go, yeah, right on, baby, that's it. Well, let me give you some bad news. The longer you stay in sport, the higher the competitive profile that you have, the more moral ground you're going to lose. The pressures to win become greater and greater, and you start to backslide. You do what is commonly referred to as you bracket the morality. You may end up paying bonuses for someone taking out the legs of another person, sever his ACL, and if it's a quarterback, it's okay. You may de-inflate the balls, whatever it takes. And somehow you don't even feel guilty about it, because this is not normal. The normal rules of ethics and moral behavior do not apply here. I'll tell you when sports teach character, happens in only one way. That's when coaches make it the number one issue. If you want to make sports a character-building experience, you can make it. But you're going to have to go against the grain. You're going to have to fight, because that's not normal in today's world. You're going to have to set a different path. You're going to have to walk differently than the majority of others and risk a lot. And you may not win in the beginning, because no one will understand what the heck you're doing. I've had ADs say, I don't care what your philosophy is. Oh yeah, build character. The only thing I can tell you is if you don't win, you're gone. You can do whatever you want. Well, you're going to have a pretty deep commitment to that's what you're all about. And if you maintain that, I will tell you, you will have an impact in a way you, I think, always really wanted to have an impact in the lives of others. So, I'd love to know, what was your original motivation for going into coaching? Just reflect on it for a moment. Why did you go into coaching in the first place? I doubt very much that those of you who are in this room were driven to have a big resume of lots of titles. But man, that's what I'm going into coaching because I want to win several national championships. That's it, baby. That's what I'm all about. That's my game. That's it. My guess is the majority of you in this room have had coaches in your background that made a difference in your life. And you so revered the impact they had in your life, you would love to leave a similar legacy for others behind you. How many have that feeling? Raise your hand for me. That's what we've collected data on this for a long time. And I will tell you, don't lose sight of that. The reason you were drawn into this profession, and I know you have to survive, was to make a real difference in the lives of other people. And that difference is going to come in how they relate, care about others, how they treat others. We're talking about their moral character. So let's get that right. You know, Brett talked about this, but it's such a big deal. You have an identity. If your identity is your team's win-loss record, we're in deep trouble. I've had so many athletes over the years. We've worked at the Institute with 17 number ones in the world. It's a very interesting database, people that gone where no human being has ever gone before. And I can tell you, when an athlete begins to identify who they are with their ranking, with their world ranking, with how they're performing, they do not have control over that. I want them betting the farm on things that they know if they work hard, they can earn. And that brings you into the domain of character strengths. Convert that arrogance that everyone is upset about, which makes it impossible for us to deal with you, convert it into some humility. And we're going to help you do that. And I'm going to show you how to build and strengthen the muscle of humility so that you can be a better team player here. And when you go on in life, you're going to be able, if you're a leader in industry or anywhere else, that's going to help you wherever you go. If you go to the NBA or the NFL or wherever, it's also going to help you there. Arrogance does not get you anywhere. When you're too full of yourself, no one wants you to succeed. I don't care how talented you are. So be very careful. Who are you? You are so much more than your win-loss records. You're a human being that cares about other people, hopefully, and the way in which you treat others is something that's under your control, regardless of how furious the storm is around you. So you have a choice here. Which of these two do you want to be representative of who you were when you lived? The one, you have to choose one. You can't have them both. We don't have a large enough tombstone to get it all on there. So here's one. You had a career win-loss record of 8, 17, and only 212 losses. Really good. You won 2 national championships, and you had 3 Coach of the Year awards. Wow. Unbelievable. Is that the headstone you want, or how about this one? Impeccable character, inspirational in life, a life teacher, an inspirational life teacher, loved, admired, and respected by all. Which of those two do you want most to be reflected in the legacy you leave behind for others? The first one is what you achieved, is what you did when you were here. The second one is how you got there, and that is what you're teaching your players. John Wooden learned that you could leverage all of the tremendous stresses and demands of competitive athletics to help people become stronger, more character-based human beings. And when you do that, that strength of character shines like a beacon in the center of the circle in terms of performance. But understand there is a prioritization that must happen here. The person first, the athlete second. How you get there is far more important than what you did. I want to know how you got to the goal, whether it's in business, whether it's in medicine. I want to know what the real inside story is, because that's the one that's going to matter. So you become something as a coach as a consequence of all the pressure that you've been under. It's a huge amount of stress. So let me just ask you, as a human being, are you more or less confident because of the experiences you've had as a coach? Are you happier or less happy because of all the experiences you've had as a coach? How about more stable? Or are you more fragile? If your identity is your win-loss record, you're only as good as your last performance. There's a lot of fragility. How about your character? Has your character got stronger or weaker because of your competitive experiences as a coach? What's happened to you? I want to know who you have become as a consequence of the chase. You're chasing, and you have to chase. I just want to know who you've become as a consequence of the chase. Are you more humble, or do you got this big fat ego because you've been winning a lot? I want to know how respectful you are, particularly to those who aren't nearly as good as you are. Your teams are not nearly as good. Because there's a huge issue there with a lot of coaches. Are you grateful for what's happened, or are you less grateful in life for all the opportunities? How about resiliency? How emotionally resilient? Do you bounce back from tough things, or do you mope around for quite some time? More open or more defensive when people raise tough issues? Because you're moving on one scale or the other in one direction. And how about ethically? Are you moving in a positive or negative? As a human, you are on a trajectory for sure. And so are your players. Because of the experience of sport, are they more or less confident in themselves as human beings, as athletes? Happy, stable, stronger, more humble, respectful, grateful. If you want those, you can have them. But you just don't make these automatic defaults. If they happen, it's great. You make sure they happen. This is what you're chasing first and foremost. I would call it conscious adaptation. You don't just hope this happens as you get in the arena of competitive pressure. You make this the game. This is how you hold yourself and your players accountable. This is the scorecard number one, and then the win-loss and all the other issues are secondary to that. Get priorities straight. So the process we use for navigating is pretty much straightforward. In life, in any sport, if you're lost in the wilderness, first of all, you need to know where are you going? What's the destination here? What is the mission? Get the purpose right. I call that getting home. Why the heck are you a coach? What is it that you should be driving above all else? What is getting home for you as a coach? That's your purpose. Those are your values. That's what it's all about in the deepest part of your soul. That's what you want to have happen. Don't lose sight of that. Then we need to know is, who are you really? That's the truth. We need to know what the truth is. Here's where I need to go. Here's my GPS compass. This is who I am. This is where I am now. How close am I? What kind of trajectory am I on? And are my players on so that I can get home? And then I need to constantly rally my energy so that my energy is aligned with what I say is most important in life, in my life, and in their lives. I'm going to try to help them navigate. I will always help them find their purpose, help them face the truth, and I will help them to do things that actually get them closer to align who they are now with who they ultimately want to be as a human being. That's my most noble role as a coach. Thank you very much. Thank you.